I hear it echo in my head.
I saw Ben Commerska the other night. I walked from his house to my house through his 80 acres he's got, whatever it's now. Kind of weird.
I'd like to call the Green Lake Township Board of Trustees regular meeting to order of July 9th, 2024. Judy, can you do a roll call, please?
West. McDonald. Biondo.
Here.
Merrick. Biganowski. Kramer here, and Radke.
Present. We have a full quorum. At this point in time, if you have any smart devices that make noise, I'd ask that you put them on vibrate or silent. That would be greatly appreciated. With that being said, could you rise and do the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. At this point in time, the next item is the approval of the agenda. Before we approve it, a follow-up to the second item under new business, the resignation of Andy on the Zoning Board of Appeals. We have two applicants that have expressed interest in filling alternate positions on our Zoning Board of Appeals. That would involve taking an existing, well, I'd like to add the two applications in action for the Zoning Board of Appeals under new business right after 2024 L4029 form. Any other suggestions? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda with the addition of the Zoning Board of Appeals vacancies. Okay, we got a motion by Radke, supported by McDonald, to approve the agenda with the addition of the Zoning Board of Appeals vacancies. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. Thank you. The next item is the approval of the consent agenda, which contains the minutes of June 11th, 2024, Treasury Report, and bills. Is there any member of the public that would like any item removed from the consent agenda? Any member of staff? Any member of this board?
Yes. The minutes, I'd like to make a correction in the minutes. And I would like this past summary by accountant of Green Lake Township, page 3 of 3.
Okay, we'll remove the minutes and the summary on page 3. We'll place them under the Zoning Board of Appeals vacancy under new business.
Cash summary by what?
Page 3. Cash summary. Any other? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda with the minutes of 6/11 removed and cash summary, page 3 of cash summary removed and placed under the last item of new business. We got a motion by West, supported by
Support.
Kramer. Any discussion?
Is that the cash summary by bank or cash summary by account?
By account.
Thank you.
Roll call, please.
Radke.
Yes.
West.
Yes.
McDonald.
Yes.
Biondo.
Yes.
Merrick.
Yes.
Biganowski.
Yes.
And Kramer, yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. Next item is declaration of conflict of interest. Does anybody here have any perceived conflict of interest? Hearing none, we'll move on to reports. I see that we have our ordinance enforcement and from zoning department. Sir, could you rise, go to the podium, state your name, introduce yourself to the board.
Good evening. For those that don't know me, I'm Jason Hamilton. I'm the new ordinance enforcement officer. First of all, thank you for having me. It's been a great beginning so far. So I appreciate that. I'm excited to be here. I think I know everybody. Might be a couple that I don't know. So you can call me Jason Hamilton or JLo from the past. I answer to anything, a lot of things. So anyways, my first order of business in the first month of being out here was trying to meet with staff and a lot of the neighbors and community members to see what the needs were. I'm also going through some of the reports from previously documented incidents, and first and foremost was the blight issues. So I met with Deputy Nofke, Mr. Vogelsong, and Isaac. I'm trying to go over there. We were able to do some follow-up site plans, see some compliance, and be able to get those closed out. I've had several meetings with other citizens and some newer ones that have popped up so far in the last few weeks, so we're putting plans together to address those. Met with Mr. Radke about adding tire service back into the cleanup. We have a private business, Junior's Tires in Traverse City, who said they would partner with us in our effort to get that added to the cleanup day, because it's been a few years, was my understanding, that we've not been able to take tires. So they said they would enter into that agreement with us to help us. Their fee was $4 a tire is what their disposal is. For us to be able to do that, we figured a $5 fee per tire. So hopefully that's something that's well received. And continue working on the blight and other issues. So that's it so far.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions of Jason? Dave?
Yes, sir.
So your list of blight, junk, problem children, is that a file list, or you actually have a file on all of those?
I'm sorry. Say that one more time.
What's your list book?
Where's my list book at?
You say you have a list of problem areas, junk, blight areas. Is it an informal list, or is it you have files in each of those?
Both. Alicia had a spreadsheet that she was keeping everything documented on a spreadsheet formula that Isaac provided me, and then there's a case file on them from her work. So I, with Deputy Nofke and Isaac, have went around to verify which ones have been in compliance or which ones are still there.
Spreadsheet list is my question, or are you doing your own thing?
So I'm updating what she has started. I have my own, little bit of a different with my background of documentation. One of the things that I'm doing a little bit differently is trying to keep point of contact for who initiated the complaint, because that's not recorded in previous years. So I'm finding, but she's very detailed in her documentation. I just haven't been able to find out who initiated the complaint, let's say 4 or 5 years ago, to follow up with them. Example, if it isn't compliant, I'd like to tell to the person who started it that it's incompliant, and they could follow up with me later if it gets back in non-compliance.
My question is, so you're gonna keep her spreadsheet, so if you're going to print it out tomorrow, you can do it, it's not an ink and handwriting on notepads.
There is documentation in the file that she has written in letter forms of the communication back and forth between her and the
No,
property
I'm
owners.
on the list.
So, yeah.
Just the
And it's in this,
list.
it's in the computer
So
system.
you're maintaining, you're gonna keep doing what she did with the list.
Yes, sir. Is that your recommendation too, or?
I don't have a recommendation, I just wanna know if you're gonna have a formal list, or it's informal on a yellow pad somewhere in pencil.
I have my field notes that I'm gonna put into the list that stays in the computer system to document it, but if the case is closed, then I'll have an area that, following her lead, that has that investigation will be closed. Unless we hear differently that it is coming back into light.
Any other questions?
Yep.
Sorry. Yes, ma'am.
How many places did you talk to about tires?
I called Juniors. That was the first place I called, and they said they would enter an agreement with us.
You all get the same thing I get each month about the cleanup that the county runs, where you take all the free tires you want to their site and they'll take it and that. I think that would be a good idea to send it out to the residents instead of us bringing them in and, like you said, charging them $5 to clean up their tires. And I got a feeling, because we just did it over in Benzie County a couple weeks ago, there's places now that are taking it for free, taking the tires for free.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because they're grinding them up and they're using them for making the playground, like out around our playground and all of that stuff. So
Oh.
if you would look into it some more, and
Yep.
I can send the
I'll-
email. You
Yeah.
all get that email, don't you?
Sure, you know who when Benzie was doing that, you could get Jason the information, I'm sure he'd follow up with them.
We have, Grand Traverse County does it, they send
Right.
us out, they have
Yeah, they did it.
hazardous
But you gotta
material.
take it to them for a cleanup. You've gotta take,
Oh, no, that is what I wanna do, I wanna take and send that out to, like, maybe put it up on our website so that all the residents can see it. Here's a place you can take tires for free if you got tires left
Right.
over versus bringing them down there for us to deal with at $5.
but you had said that there was someone who might take them from us on cleanup day for free. If you can get that information to Jason,
Oh,
I'm sure he'd
okay,
follow up.
yeah, I don't know that, that's what I'm saying, I know that,
He's only got
There is.
someone, but
Yeah,
you sound like you had a contact, I'm sorry, I
oh,
thought you knew
no,
who it was, that you dealt with it then.
The contact is Grand Traverse County sends us that email about 4 times a year to me that you can
Oh, the
take all-
resource recovery.
Same.
Resource recovery, and you take
Yes.
all the tires you want for free down there.
Yeah, they have a grant that they obtain from the state typically, so, and that's how they're able to do it.
If we put that information out on our website to the, so that the residents could see it, a lot of them would probably take their stuff there, you know, hazardous material and that, they send it to me, so,
I'll reach out to Grand Traverse County Resource Recovery tomorrow morning
okay.
and see what we can do that. Because my research on that was, I think they had a limit on how many tires at a time of what a household could bring in. But
Yeah, I
if
think
a
we
limit
could
is
bring
X
like a
amount, and,
dozen or something,
some,
we
but-
could come in that.
okay, yeah,
Should
I'll reach out to
have
them
like a
tomorrow morning.
dozen.
Okay,
Benzie let us take 63 in the other day,
goodness.
unlimited, so.
Oh,
And where was that? Which-
Benzie, it was over at the Frankfurt School, they're having it again this weekend somewhere. It's the
Okay.
same thing, it's Benzie College.
Benzie, okay, all right, thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Chief Case has to attend a class this evening. He has his written report submitted. However, he did want to pass along that Logan Mosier, he reported last month, passed his paramedic, and he was awaiting to take the National Register, and he passed.
Nice.
First time out of the gate, the new test, 100, so it was pretty pleasing to Chief Case, and I have not had a chance to talk with Logan yet. Congratulate him, but from my understanding, he's ecstatic about it.
As he should be.
Isaac, did you have anything else you wanted to follow up on a report?
Didn't have too much to add in addition to this month's report. Just want to remind everyone, the county's kind of experiencing some problems as far as their online services. We're still issuing land use permits here locally. That's going smoothly. So yeah, just through the transition, yeah, it's going well. Short-term rentals, I think all the short-term rentals we had on record have received their license for 2024 as of today. Seems like everyone's following the guidelines. Not many complaints have been reported to us, so that's going really well also. So, yeah.
Oh, very good. Isaac, I just want to make a comment. From my understanding, you're doing an amazing job because I haven't heard from anybody.
That's good.
I have not received a phone call, I have not received letters, emails, stop-ins,
Yes.
in that regards
That's
there.
good.
So, thank you and continue. I know the future is different,
Mm-hmm.
but, I just wanted to let you know that, thank you.
Yeah,
You're
thanks.
stepped up and you've exceeded.
Yeah, and everything going on with the county has been a challenge, just from a staff perspective, you really don't realize how much we utilize some of the county resources, the maps, the permit records. So, yeah, just a little extra communication right now between us and the county. Things are going smoothly still, though.
Very good.
All right.
Any questions, comments? Thank you. I don't see anyone else from the county. With that, we'll move on to public comment. This is an opportunity for the public to rise, state their comments to this board. I'd ask that you go to the podium, state your name, address of residence, and limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Greg Caskey Sr., 11717 US Highway 31. I'd like to ask, when you start the meeting, you give some of us in the audience another 10 or 15 seconds to stand up and turn toward the flag. You're already 2 or 3 words into it before I'm able to get up and face the flag. to salute for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you.
Yes?
Scott Walter Richards, 11802 Fred Meyer, Interlochen. Spell my name right, because it's Scott Walter Richards with one T. I'm running for county clerk. Why? Because TCAPS has been hacked twice. The county's been hacked. Anything electronically can be hacked. So I want to do it how Dr. Frank does it. And we can find the people that believe in this United States of America to help volunteer to do that project. What's better than hacking TCAPS or Grand Traverse County? I'll tell you what, your bank accounts, the car you drive, how many miles you can drive, what goes on your property, what goes on your neighbor's property, your kids' education, your grandkids' education. I can hack all that stuff with one voting machine. Thank you.
Jill Coverdale, 5648 Runwood Way. On Friday last week, I received not only the newsletter, which I appreciate, with had a tax bill enclosed, but a second envelope with another tax bill enclosed. I pulled both out, read them. Right now, I have no idea which one is the correct tax bill because I didn't jam it back in the envelope with the note that Andy had that there was an error. So, you know, it would have been nice that the corrected one had corrected at the top. I'm assuming the 4.671 millage is the correct, so the lower tax bill is proper, but I think it would be very prudent to put this out on the website for everybody to know that that was it, because I think there's probably a lot of people like me is you put that aside and you pay it in September. You know, you're maximizing earnings on your own money, and people are going to have two tax bills, which is going to create some havoc. I'd be curious as to how that happened also, because it did incur quite a bit of expense at 58 cents an envelope to send out another tax bill. And where was the checks and balance to make sure that it was right before it was sent out? I don't know if this is contracted out or if it's done internally, but it was a pretty big goof, in my opinion.
Greg Caskey, 11711 US Highway 31, Caskey Funny Farm. We had a discussion at the end of things last week, or last month, about tiny homes, trailers. I'm having a real hard time trying to figure out where my private property ends and my neighbor's begins, and how that works out with the township, and how they plan to, I mean, a lot of these are trailers, so they're already registered with the state. So where does the state begin and the township enter that? It's quite a bit of confusion there, so I don't know if we've thought about any of that, but I'm really having a hard time with what I do on my property being my neighbor's business, or yours for that matter.
Any other? Okay, we'll move on to postponed business. This was Trustee McDonald, Trail Engineering Contribution. Pat, would you like to bring us up to speed of what was submitted?
Sure. Mr. Supervisor, I included a copy of the EDA contract in the packet. It's a labor and materials contract with a estimated $100,000 total cost, and it would be for technical construction documents, design, survey, maps, budget cost estimates, for the section of the trail going asking is if the board would vote to reimburse the DDA for 1/3 of the expenses it pays under this contract, up to a maximum of $35,000. And the hope is that once this work is complete, we'll be ready to, apply for and obtain grants and contributions and maybe spend some DDA money to actually start developing the trail. The survey work is already underway. We've seen the Wade trim trucks out there. And we're still waiting the final Interlaken Center for the Arts should be giving us final approval in the next few weeks on the second easement. If anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to try and answer them.
Dave?
So, you guys are, he's calling it phase one, it's a little over a half mile. As a percentage of the whole trail, is this like a quarter or less?
Well, this is probably, I would say, a third of the whole thing, but we aren't expecting these kinds of expenses for the first third of the trail. And we're also hoping for significant contributions from the state park for the second third of the trail.
And this is to prepare a bid package to design and build, so someone can bid on it. But without a grant, we have $0, right? It's just gonna sit on the shelf without a grant, correct?
Well, the DDA does have some funds, I guess, and the Interlaken Center for the Arts, I'm assuming has funds. But we have
Not 2.9 million.
Right.
2.9 was the whole impact.
Yeah, and State Park, they are going, to work on their trail that we have an easement for through their in-kind service throughout this year and in the spring. From my understanding, they're gonna make their improvements where they want the trail to go.
Part of this what they're doing in that,
Yes. Yes, and so that was part of that. And the first phase is Memorial Park, which we already gave approval for to extend it to Vagabond Lane.
And I know Brian already signed this, is it a done deal whether we contribute or not?
So you got a commitment from the music camp to give a third?
Not a binding commitment, but we have a representative from the Center for the Arts on the DDA board, and we feel pretty confident that we're one third contribution.
Yeah, and that,
So you've already gone ahead with no real commitment on the money, basically?
Correct.
Just the third of the DDA is gonna kick in.
Right, well, we're on the hook for 100% of it, but on the other hand, it's labor and materials contract, so I guess no one's gonna pitch in, I suppose the DDA could decide that they wanna stop contracting.
But you're on the hook for this $100,000 with Wade Trim, no matter what happens, right? Because, well, like Dave says, Brian's already signed the contract, so that puts you on the hook for the $100,000.
No, it says it's an estimate.
Right, but you said they're already down, I'm looking at the page where it, has the three different things, and you're on like stage 3 of it, the surveying down there, so Wade Trim's, incurring expenses, right?
Yeah, we'd be responsible for what they've done up to date, I'm sure.
You need to name this trail, so they keep calling it, Alright Trail. We need to give it a name.
We can work on that. Patch trail.
yeah, no, so yeah, as far as the name goes, Interlochen Center of the Arts, we do have a verbal commitment. We've already received one easement agreement from them. The second easement is going in front of their board along with ratification of a third of this $105,000 or $100,000 engineering cost. So there, no particular reason why we couldn't proceed. And within 30 days, the wage trim contract could be terminated as well due to the funding or other issues that can come about. So in that regards there, this trail has been in the works for many years. I think back in Paul's time, it was been discussed, and part of it was part of the Mosquito Trail at one time, and we're trying to incorporate all that type of stuff into it. So I'm in support of allocating a third of it from the ARPA funds that we have remaining. In that regards, not to exceed $35,000 in the we'll match it in the event ICA approves it as well.
A second.
I guess that's my motion. Condition upon ICA participating in it at a level of 1/3 as well. Any discussion on that? Is there anything else, Pat, that I missed?
No.
Is there ARPA funds left? After we do this?
Yes. Yes, and then we'll be bringing back some other nuances to get that. We have to allocate it by December 31st this year and expend it by December 31st next year, of which the intersection, we were hoping to allocate for the water system and hydrants and all that going across. But if it's not done by December 31st next year, we have to give that back. We have to spend it. So that's what we're working with MDOT. I've had a virtual meeting with them and reached out to Gordy Frazier, who is also revising some of the plans for that intersection utilities that we're involved with. So we're hoping to get that figured out here in the next 14 days. That was a deadline MDOT has. Any other discussion, questions? Hearing none, could we do a roll call, please, Judy?
McDonald. West. Biondo. Merrick.
Yes.
Biganowski. Kramer, yes, and Radke.
Yes. Motion carries. You can take that back to the DDA board, Pat.
Contingent upon ICA.
Yes. Okay, the next item on our agenda is new business. With that, it's the Interlochen Public Library contribution request. This is their annual request for funding from the township to fund services for in-person programming of all ages at the library. This request is for $6,000 to help support the programs that make a meaningful difference in our community. This is every year we have this. Any discussion, comments, questions? Yes. Yeah, she can
If you
make
make
a
a
motion.
motion, you can discuss it.
Is there support for your motion? By Biondo, okay, discussion.
Every year they're supposed to give us their annual report and the budget, right? Did they do that? Every year they forget.
Yeah, they gave it,
We have to remind them, and every year I go, no, because we don't have a contract that says what they're gonna do, and they didn't comply with our lease. Every year. So I think we're back to that saying, they didn't do what they're supposed to do.
yeah, we got the budget back in,
Literally said they would
February.
give us an
It's the
audit
first of the
statement.
year. First of the year it was.
yeah, it's
Because they
February.
use Baird, Cotter, and Bishop too.
Yeah, so we'll receive the audit probably in August, September, like we typically do. We get the budget first year, then we get the audit from
Yui.
Why?
Yui.
Can I make one comment on that? Every year Dave Shirley complains about that, but you don't ask for the fireworks. What do they call it?
Insurance?
No, 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 no.
Contract.
The Boom Boom Club.
The Boom Boom Club, you don't ask for the same information from the Boom Boom Club. You write in that they're supposed to every year give us the budget and that, but you never make this mention when the Boom Boom Club asks.
It's apples and oranges. Boom Boom is not obligated to show us anything. These guys have a lease, a written lease with 2 sections that say they have to give us this, this, and this on this schedule.
Right, that's because we
And
own
I
the
put it in the
land.
lease, that's why.
Yeah, because we own the land, but the fact that we're giving them $6,000 for their activities.
So there's a statute that says townships as a lawful expenditure can put out money for celebration of our 4th of July independence. There's a state statute that says that. So we don't have to do that like we do with this. There's actually a state statute that says we can give to libraries if we want to. But we normally would do an exchange, so it doesn't look like a blatant donation.
Right.
So, yeah, when we receive the audit from Yui, did I say that right?
Yeah.
We'll forward it on to the members as well. We'll reach out to Trent and the library director.
When do you think that is?
September, I thought, Rob. It's the end of the summer.
Yeah, for some reason I thought it was the end of,
Beginning of the year.
I thought they normally ask for their donation at the end of the year. This is a little early, what they normally ask, isn't it?
I don't remember when they
They usually ask the first of the year. They're actually late this year.
yeah, yeah. Usually it's when they submit us the budget,
Mhm.
February, I believe, when we get it. Okay, any other comments? I'll roll call this, please.
West.
Yes.
McDonald. Biondo. Barrick.
Yes.
Biganowski. Kramer, yes, and Radke.
Yes. Motion carries. Next item on our agenda is a resignation letter from Andy Merrick from our zoning board of appeals. There was a statute that requires, that states that as a board member he can, but as an employee he can't. He's a firefighter EMT. So he's taken the position of resigning from the zoning board of appeals rather than give up being a firefighter EMT for Green Lake Township.
Didn't realize being a volunteer firefighter would be considered that. But now, when the trustees brought it to our attention, so I am tendering a resignation effective when I sent this out, which was June 20th, the day I found out that there was a potential conflict with the state statute of me serving on the ZBA and possibly influenced by this board to make zoning board of appeals decisions because of that whopping $200 I get a year.
Okay, so I would entertain a motion to receive and file the resignation of Andy Merrick from the zoning board of appeals. Put in the record. Motion by Biondo, supported by West, to receive and file resignation letter from the zoning board of appeals from Andy Merrick. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries. The next item on our packet was brought up before as far as our millage rates and that. With everything that was down, we received them on July as required for the 4029 that has to be filed to the county equalization department and also the county clerk. So with that being said, it was in the packet. Any questions in that regard there? I just wanted it for information. Yeah.
Offline, I asked you, this is a moot point, if this my tax gets passed, and you thought you'd know shortly whether they had enough ballots in them.
They failed. They had to be in by 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon. It was confirmed today at, I was on the phone last night at around 8 o'clock.
This is now relevant.
Yes,
This would have been relevant for this year anyway.
until December 31st. Yeah, so that's our tax rate. Currently, our operating millage for the township, we could be operating at 1 mil, but because of the Headley rollback, we are collecting 66.49 cents per dollar authorized. Fire and ambulance, we started off out at 1.93, and we are currently receiving 1.8094. Ambulance ALS, we started out at 0.95. We are now collecting 0.9060. So the collection rate's going down in that, or the millage cost is going down for taxpayers in that regard.
Our only option is to put it back on the ballot to restore it full amount, right?
Yes,
And that could be any election, right?
correct,
You just don't want to do a special.
correct. Yeah, so with that, we are on notice in that regards there.
For our information, correct?
Yes. Receive and file. The next item we have,
Good. Going back,
oh, yes, I'm sorry, Pat.
so these are fire and ambulance, villages expiring December of 2026. Looking at renewals and what
Yes, at the governor's election.
The board at that time decides to.
Yeah, correct. Yep. So I've,
Let's make sure we get this on one of our agendas, enough time to do so.
yes, I've made note to the fire chief in that regards as well. And we'll bring that forward in plenty of time. The next item we have on the agenda is due to the resignation of Andy from the zoning board of appeals. We currently have one alternate position that's been filled, and that is by Ruth. I would ask that we place Ruth on the permanent zoning board of appeals and take and place Kenneth Chamberlain, who lives off Peninsular Shores Drive. He's made a request to be an alternate of the zoning board of appeals. And Mr. Brandon Behringer on Inwood West would also like to be a member of either the zoning board, planning commission, or board of review. So I'd make a request that we make Ruth permanent and Kenneth Chamberlain and Brandon Behringer as alternates.
Explain rules again, because I'm not familiar.
Ruth was an alternate.
Last name.
Ruth Selby,
Say it
Selby, Selby.
Yeah, we appointed her a couple months ago.
She was our only alternate we had?
Yes. So if we can take Ruth Selby, she's got a third name, but I can't pronounce it
I'm not
very
gonna
well.
even, yeah, it starts with a B.
So place her as permanent member of the zoning board of appeals, and we're gonna have all our boards filled.
So, have you met both these people in person?
Yes, Brandon has been in the last year and a half. He would like to get involved, and Ken Chamberlain is involved with Duck Lake Association and also the Green Lake Duck Lake Association.
He's
been
one of my
around.
precinct chairs too.
Yeah,
clarify what you want done with Brandon, was it an alternate to all three boards? or-
alternate to the zoning board of appeals only. Kenneth Chamberlain, alternate to the zoning board of appeals only. And Ruth as permanent zoning board of appeals member,
To fill the vacancy,
left by Andy.
whatever your term is, well, your terms.
Gonna
November
expire
20th
of this year.
of this year.
Right. So moved.
We got a motion by Biondo, supported by West, to appoint Ruth as permanent zoning board of appeals member, Brandon Behringer and Kenneth Chamberlain as alternates to the zoning board of appeals. Any further discussion?
These alternates, they've got terms, and we'll just appoint them to what's the way it is.
Yes.
What-
Correct. So Ruth will finish up Andy's term. Yes. Yep.
Under discussion, I would like to add that I heard a very positive compliment about her preparedness. Right on the ball.
Good.
Very good. Nice, thank you. With that, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. Motion carries, thank you. Next item would be the minutes that were pulled of June 11th, I believe. Sherry?
Yeah, on the minutes, on page one, okay, approval of the agenda, motion made by Merrick, supported by West, to approve the agenda as amended. I wanna add UHY bill added at the end of the business. We have amended the agenda, and we want it to be on there.
Everybody find out where, locate that on the first page, it was just missing. Anything else on that, Sherry?
Nope.
Thank you. So we'll take action on that. I would entertain a motion to,
Well, page 7, you're fixing stuff. Page 7 minutes is hybrid dwelling units, it should have said hybrid, H-Y-B-R-I-D, hybrid.
Whereabouts?
Page 7, percent.
Oh, great, great.
Maybe if we breed them, then they'll be higher.
They're cheaper that way if you breed them. At the funny farm.
okay, with that noted. So would move to approve the minutes of June 6th, or June 11th of 2024 with the addition of UHY under the approval of the agenda and correct pronunciation or grammar on page 7, first line, hybrid to hybrid. Any others? I make that motion.
Second.
Supported by West. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, say no. Motion carries. Now, the next item I have is the cash summary of accounts, I believe.
This is just something I thought maybe a good idea for us to think about discussing right now. On your cash summary of accounts, when you go down there and you find 802 Eurasian Water Mill for Special Vessels and Implements, we're sitting on $85,000 for that, and I'm wondering about giving them some of that money back if we quit collecting it or what? Because we went to this cheaper stuff that works better.
Yeah, it's not, we didn't go to the cheaper stuff. We're just staying on top of it, so it's not as much expanding. And yes, at this next audit that we're coming up with, we're gonna check with the auditor and legal to see if we could hold in abeyance. I figured 2 years of collections of that millage rate, and can we bring it back in after 2 years?
And Mark, we just got billed by them for this year's
Yeah.
second dose, so that number is the collection for this year's as well. I don't remember that number, we just did the checks today, but there was a stack of them. So some of that number, or some of that money has been spent for this year's treatment.
Right, and we're only sitting down on, when you look at the,
By the time everything's said,
Cedar Hedge, yeah, we're looking at like 37,000 for Cedar Hedge. And I know that the treatment that they started using was more successful. So
Yeah, on Cedar Hedge, yeah.
And that just seemed like a lot of money to me to hold of the residents.
yeah, we put them on notice in regards to the treatment cost of our annual collection in that regards there. So the company that developed the new test, or the new treatment chemicals, gave us a pretty good discount on that there on Cedar Hedge Lake. And it did a real good job, from my understanding. Judy, do you confirm
Come with
that?
stock on.
Yeah, so now we're just gonna continue the treatment ongoing on that. We're just gotta get what the estimated cost is to continue that treatment. They're going out, I think, or they already did this last week, to do this survey. Was it Roy?
Yeah.
So, yeah, weather permitting. So we'll have a better round number here at the end of August when they sit there and do the survey now and anticipated treatment later to see what that cost is, and that'll take it out of that fund balance. But you're absolutely right. We're gonna see if we can hold back or collect 1/10 for 2 years, so we can spend that now. Thank
I
you.
just had, one question.
Yes.
Where are we at with the bank statements? Are we caught up now still? Okay.
Okay, so with that, anything else with the cash summary? I'll move to receive and file the cash summary, or the,
We have to take it, because I pulled it off the consent agenda.
right, move to approve, receive, and file. Okay, we got a motion by Radke, supported by Biondo. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries. Next is correspondence. Does anybody have any, oh, check that, discussion? I have it overruled. And at this point in time, the discussion, I would like to address, I'm gonna call on me first. Mr. Caskey, my apologies, sir. I will take the extra 30 seconds or a minute to ensure everybody's standing and prepared to do the Pledge of Allegiance, so you could do your salute as well. My apologies, sir. In that regards there, Jill, I received the same information that you received as far as tax bills and that, so that's being looked at, and it's being addressed. I believe Andy could follow up on that again if needs be. For the board, I did let the board know what transpired, so.
I remember that, that's what was my discussion, I remember we sent out 2 sets of bills on the phone.
We sent-
I was
it
gonna
was-
wait till Dave was done, I was gonna explain what happened with the tax bill, if it was brought up. If you
274.
don't mind, Dave, I'd like to now. So, the Kingsley School District, I set up normally with the county up and running, we're able to get everything transferred easily. And we double check the county to make sure that everything is in fact done correctly. Some counties, the county sets up the tax bills for local jurisdictions. We in Grand Traverse County set up our own tax bills. Stuff didn't transfer over from the previous year, so we had to physically rebuild them. I fat fingered the keyboard. I did a 7 instead of a 4. So the tax bills came out higher for the Kingsley School District. There are 245 individual parcels that were affected by that. Several of those parcels were owned, or several residents owned multiple parcels, so I mailed those out in the same envelope, reducing the cost a little bit. I balanced with the assessor, so the assessor roll and the tax rolls match. Every check I could do here at the township level, without physically going back through all the files and making sure that I had all the 4.0, whatever that number is right now, couldn't do it. I screwed up, made a mistake. I sent a letter out explaining that there was a calculation error, and everyone's bills who were affected went down by about half. So I made a mistake. As long as the county's up and running, that shouldn't happen again. And I am working with other townships to see what we can do, if there's not anything else that could have been done for a check to make sure that everything's balanced out right. I apologize for anyone that it wasn't clear and I didn't mark the second bills properly, so you could tell which one. We've got several calls in the office asking about that.
How did this affect the people that had their taxes paid by their mortgages?
I had not sent out the mortgage company's bills yet. I had to get the tax bills out by July 1st. The county said roll the dice. Or no, our attorney said you have to send the tax bills out. Whether they're right or wrong, they need to go out the 1st of July. The county was back up 6 days later. That's when we found out about the error. No. There was a short period of time when they were back up. That's when they let us know about the error.
On the county. But, so you sent out tax bills to all the residents
Correct.
without sending them to the mortgage company?
Those went out yesterday, after the correction was made.
The correct ones went to the mortgage.
Right, I didn't have to send the tax bills to the mortgage company as quickly, but I had to mail them to the residents. So I was able to hold on to those, so that the mortgage company's only got 1 set of tax bills from us, in the event there was an issue.
And there are some communities in Grand Traverse County that just sent out their tax bills yesterday. Because they didn't want, they wanted to ensure county stuff was working as well, so.
But I did reach out to our attorney and asked, can I hold on to the tax bills to make sure that they're correct? And the attorney said, you need to send them.
Is the county our checks and balance? Jill made a comment about checks and balance. The county is our checks and balance
Because we
system so that the treasurer is doing it right?
Because the county closes or takes over our tax rolls at the end of the year, we have to balance with them, and that's how issues can be found. That's one of the ways to check. They built a second database, similar to the database I built, and our databases didn't match. They said, it looks like Hume Kingsley School District, you charge 7 point whatever it is mills instead of the 4. And that is how we discovered that that was incorrect.
Yeah, the county did it on a paper trail because of the computer system. Wasn't able to receive
Yeah, I understand
our
all of
stuff.
that,
Yep.
that the system was down.
But we did receive it by paper.
Do we have any checks and balance here in the office, or over in the office to make sure that doesn't happen that way?
I checked with, we balanced with the assessor rolls, which we did.
That's not really the point, Andy. It's, you know, if you
Our-
Hang on, yeah, we can bring that at the, after this next one, Jill, okay? So what, I guess,
Sherry, in the private sector, let's say your utility bills, before every billing cycle, they have a team go through the bill exactly like you're saying. They've always had a process to do that, your phone bill, your electric bill, your gas bill. They do that every time. Apparently, we don't do that at all.
That's what I'm asking. We have no checks and balance. They're always talking about checks and balance. I assumed that there was somebody somewhere in our office that it was double checked
The
before
county.
we know.
the county
You
has
say
sent
the county did it.
the software, but as far as the internal setting up the tax bill, the format of the tax bill is done via the treasurer and deputy treasurer. But as far as the numbers program goes, it goes off the 4029 that we receive from the county for all the other veterans,
Well,
library,
should
school.
we set it up, should we set something like that up in here?
I'd
In the
love to have you
council?
come into the office and show me how I could do that, Sherry. That's why we balance, that's why we balance with the county. That is a final check and balance to make sure that if they set up a tax account, database, and we set up a database and they match, we know that everything is right. If there's a problem, we go through each of the 12 different tables that we gotta set up, the assessor setup, all that stuff we go through and we see where there's a discrepancy, and then go back to the L20.
Okay, but what shouldn't have been done before they got mailed out. That's the issue.
We couldn't because the county was down for our final check. So the county's computer problems, them being hacked with the ransomware, led to my not having that backup. Some townships, as Mr. Radke pointed out, did not send their tax bills out. Our township attorney said I needed to.
So the data, things called tables that we needed to cross in our system, you didn't have those figures? Because the county was down? on those 12
I had the
tables?
1049, but I didn't have the numbers that it all printed out correct.
1049 means.
The 4029.
the 4029.
Yes, I'm sorry.
So the Cleveland School District has one of those that would have had the correct rate on it?
It did have the correct rate, he just hit,
He just hit the wrong key.
7, which is right above the 4.
But an audit team that would have looked at a sample bill would have caught that because they had it on paper to cross-reference it.
I will bring that forward for a budget discussion, if we can hire us people to come in and double check
The
the bill.
private sector does that every year.
And we haven't had a problem until this happened when the county went down, so we didn't have that backup team to look at it. That's paid for by the taxpayers already to do that. So if you want to spend additional money, I'm more than happy to do that.
okay, any other, yes?
Is it possible the board makes me or my office send an email out every time that there's an issue with something going on, whether it's taxes or bills that were paid wrong? Is it possible that maybe you can let the board know so that they at least know what's going on? Send a quick email out to them to let them know that there was a mistake and da-da-da-da-da, in case they get questioned.
I'm not happy about finding out this at a board.
Yeah, because I know for my office, I have to, as soon as something happens, you did a motion that I have to let you know immediately. And so maybe that's what we need to do for the treasurer too, just to let them know so that they're aware of what's going on.
We got notification, trying to think, was it an email from you? Or-
Yes, it was, yeah.
You know,
Well, it was quite a bit after the fact. So I think, like, when it happens, maybe just send an email to the
That
board,
would've-
let them know,
In hindsight, that would have been a great idea.
yeah.
you were busy pulling your hair out. Oh, sorry.
What's left of it, yes.
So, I mean, with that being said, my apologies, Jill, if you have something that you'd like to add in that regards there. I just want to make sure we had the premise of the discussion laid out.
I just, I assume that these bills are mailed out of the township offices.
No.
No,
So where are they printed?
Maple River Printing.
So you wouldn't have seen a printed bill to have seen, oh, I keyed in a 7 instead of a 4 until after the fact? I mean, that's a simple check and balance. And I mean, Jason, as your assistant, could have looked at a sample bill. I would assume you'd get a sample bill before you give them the okay of print up the.
We looked at some of them, I just didn't happen to pull Kingsley.
Okay.
But we have,
It just was confusing, but I think that even on the Facebook page for Green Lake, you may want to put something out there of if your Kingsley schools and receive the 2 tax bills, the lower one is the correct one.
yeah,
Because
well,
people are, I pull the bulb out of the envelope and then I'm going, well, geez, which one is right?
very good, we'll
They
reach
show
out.
different info on, like the one didn't have like a remittance thing, even your property ID, which the other one had. They look different. So it was just a little bit screwy, and I agree with Sherry, and it seemed like a pretty simple double check, to make sure it was right.
Okay.
Thank goodness it only affected 245 of us, because I was concerned about if it was all taxpayers, that would have been a pretty big expense.
Yeah, no, it was just the Kingsley district. With that being said, any other discussion? Pat?
Yeah, just given the Grand Traverse County hacking situation, I think we have to assume it's only a matter of time before it's gonna happen to us. And I'm thinking, my thought is that we should really focus on what the possibilities are and try and get everything in place to try and minimize whatever damage there might be once we do get hacked. I know you guys.
bless you.
Taking certain measures, maybe quite a few measures, but I guess as a board member, I'd like to confirm that we've done absolutely everything we can within reason and reasonable cost. So we're ready for, when our number comes up. we can tie up what we got.
Yeah, we're bound to happen. We had a meeting with, like Materns, Deering's, ICA, the state, the township. We get attempted somewhere neighborhood of 700 to 3,000 times a day. ICA is triple that. So we've been working with our software, also with insurance in that regards there and doing our backups. So we have a double backup system from my understanding. But yes, we're trying to keep on top of that. Dave, I'm sure you have something?
Well, about a year ago, I got hacked, and they actually hacked me twice. They deleted my backup, all my backups.
finally.
The homestead just got hacked at the same time as the county. They got 500 employees. Their key system, they couldn't let people in and out. They didn't know who had reservations. They couldn't open any of the doors. And their backups got deleted too. There's different levels of cyber insurance.
Yeah.
We probably have the lowest level, which is barely adequate, but that brings up the damn good point that, the only safe way is to do a backup and take the damn sucker home.
Yeah, off-site.
Because hackers can hack your backups.
Yeah.
That's our process.
We take one home,
Yeah, I take myself home.
so you did that on your own. I mean,
You know,
the
we have an
system
off-site backup, doesn't.
Offsite,
anybody do
they
an
whacked
offsite
that on
backup
me
for us?
twice.
Yeah. So
Part of
we'll,
the other thing,
yeah.
talking to the county, after what this happened, all the systems that were cloud-based were able to be recovered much quicker. BSNA is able to go cloud-based. how the programs work, because the .NET versus the cloud-based is a little different. That's something, once this tax year is over, I'd like to look at. But then we've got assessing, so whenever you're switching from one to the other, then you get hiccups.
It's really expensive too, to switch, and the yearly fees that you have to pay for it.
And that's something that we need to look at, but it's, whenever we switch, or whenever anyone switched from one platform to another within BS Major Penn, it has not been a smooth transition, but it's something that
Yeah, if we can,
helps with the potential for an attack.
Maybe put a policy into place where everybody backs up to a thumb each night. For now.
something of that nature there. We've been trying to keep an eye on it just because of the cyber attacks. It's been
And
an
I know you
ongoing issue.
have, we've got coverage through Anavon, and then you have also a subscription that we do.
Yes, through our
And then we are
website.
through Paul Olson. I don't know what the coverage is though, I'd have to look.
Cyber's covered, listed, I don't know what level they do that. These folks at Homestead want an 8-figure ransom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, the problem is, like our thermostat, Scott would be proud.
Turn it on.
That's how they've gotten in. We've had a couple other local townships in Grand Traverse County that got hacked and held for ransom as well. One community had it done twice. So, I've been very pleased that we've done very well on
I don't
our
know
end.
insurance will pay the ransom.
So, any other discussion, any correspondence? Public comment, same rules applies as the first one. If there's any comments, please direct them to the board. I'd ask that you rise, go to the podium, state your name and address for the record.
I just have a couple. Joe covered up 5648 Runwood. The relationship with the township and the DDA is being the best, I think, most all residents, maybe you to the board, I don't know, but that contract that Pat presented, I would never sign a contract that is based on an estimated fee. It should be a not to exceed fee, because what's to say that doesn't double? And then the DDA is coming back saying, hey, we want a third of $200,000. That was a weird thing, and I don't know if the DDA has legal review of contracts as the township does, but that was just a point. And I appreciate Dave's comments about what the library is supposed to provide, but honestly, the $6,000 contribution to them, I think is one of the best uses of township money. They do wonderful community events that are there. I mean, I've been to many of them. There was one a few months ago that the cheese lady was there. The community room was packed, and people were like overjoyed to have something like that part of the community. That $6,000 is well worth the money to support that library. I would suggest that that form, the 4029 form, be posted on our website so that people can actually see the village, you know, like history of what was originally approved and what it is now, so that we just know what our tax base is. And then before any discussion of like, you know, or when we need to review the fire or the ALS village, I really stress that we need to get the billing up in to show what revenue is coming in, to make sure we're getting everything from them that we're entitled to. So I brought this up at a previous meeting. I really would suggest we get that sooner than later. They've been doing billing, or someone has for several years now, and it would be nice to just get an understanding of that. Thank you.
Any other member of the public? If not, I would entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting at 6:34 PM.
So moved.
Support. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no.
Don't even ask.
Motion carries, meeting adjourned. Thank you.